Okay, so this is Group C. We chose Coca-Cola Nigeria as the brand we want to use for our case study. And we identified the problem that the brand is currently facing. Coca-Cola is a global brand, and currently in this market, they are currently facing decreased market share across all brands, and this is due to the price increase across board, and also the cost of and the attempt to position the brand as premium, and this was due to extreme fluctuation in the market in I think around 2016 2017. Yeah, and that's problem statement for this group. So we looked at a couple of situations, both external and internal situations that affected the brand up until date, and we tried to use the Potter's five forces. So we looked at trade of new entrants, the likes of Big E and Big Cola, who came to the market and they changed the market dynamics. So those guys came with very competitive pricing. So $100, 100 naira for 60 cl of their products. So that forced the likes of Coca-Cola to develop a new pricing strategy, which my colleague will talk about. Also, we looked at the trade of distribution here. The other brands being manufactured in the market, most of their plants and most of there's a word you used, concentrates to make these products.
Yeah, the concentrates.
Yeah, where we're done locally, but for Coca-Cola, because we're trying to maintain that global taste, because of importing the concentrate and production would also feed into how much a unit of coke was sold. Yeah, so that those factors affected the brand. Also, the buyer power, the purchase power of the consumer, eventual consumer, yeah, also would affect how sales sales and eventual market share for the brand. Also, we're looking at the demography and psychography of the people who are most likely going to consume coke. Now, one of the things I didn't mention earlier was the health implications of consuming CSDs in this market. So we looked at the fact that the consumers who are most likely, so we're having a decline in people who take CSDs, carbonated soft drinks. So because of the healthier options people are going for here. So those are a couple of situations that we analyzed and we saw that were resulting to a decrease in market share. Yeah, so I'll allow Abioye to take on our objectives and goals.
Okay, so for us, the objectives and goals are pretty straightforward. The first is, of course, to increase market share generally for the organization, and this would be in terms of differentiating the products from the competitor brands. So the price increase that we're talking about really has gone from Coca-Cola to Fanta to Sprite. So all the products in their portfolio experience that price increase. So if we can find a situation whereby we increase market share by basically differentiating the products and the value that it has to customers, definitely that would be a good objective for the organization to have. The other one is new product development. So the organization would have to develop either a fresh product that isn't already in their portfolio, or modify an already existing product, either the pack size or the bottle size or the flavor, just to create something that is relatively new for the market, so it can attend to the segments, like you mentioned, the C and D segments, the segments that are quite price sensitive. So for alternatives and evaluations, there are a couple of alternatives that we think that the company has, or a couple of alternatives that they have. And the first is product diversification. We want the organization to modify already existing products that they have, like I mentioned, to suit the C and D category. So for instance, if they're to start a Fanta strawberry or Fanta apple that has a lot of sugar in it, this will create a new product, a relatively new product for a new segment of people, or it will identify a segment out of the already existing population that might want strictly high sugar content in their drink. So this would carve a new niche for them, and of course start to increase their market share in that regard, and of course ultimately increase the their revenue or their sales. So the good thing about that will be they will have a new product line, increase sales, increase market share for the portfolio generally. But the downside to that is, like he was sharing with us, is that it may not necessarily work in terms of economies of scale. When you have a new product that you have to manufacture, you need new equipment to manufacture the product, you need new workers, new expertise to manufacture that product. That of course is cost intensive, and that of course increases the cost of production in the short term, but in the long term as well, this could work out if they're quite successful and if the product is something that consumers find very valuable. The other option or the other alternative that we have is in terms of improving the channel of distribution. Ojie mentioned that they have issues around the distribution in terms of importing the syrup, importing the concentrate, exchange issues and things like that. So one other thing that was identified when we're looking at the issues that the company has is the fact that the distribution system, they don't have the push from sales personnel that work with Coca-Cola to push the products out of the distributors' warehouses. So a lot of the times the products are just sitting in one place waiting on secondary purchasers to come in and buy them. So that push in terms of getting sales personnel, either revamping their sales structure or getting new sales personnel to actually do that push. They already have issues around price, they already have issues around customers' perception of the value of their brand, but they could actually go an extra mile or a longer way. They modify their sales personnel to work on the push aspect of distribution. So that's basically for us for the alternatives and evaluations.
Well, for the recommendations that we were able to identify, we noticed that it was very important for Coca-Cola to diversify their product lines, to be able to meet up with and compete favorably with the new entrants that have just come in. So that when it's well diversified, you have some form of share of whatever your competitors are bringing in. We also realize that it's very important for Coca-Cola to localize their marketing communication strategy. Because as a global brand, when you're coming into a new space, you have to identify what the local community understands, their language, their style, the demography and everything. Coca-Cola has not been able to do that effectively, and if they need to increase on what they have in their market share, they need to increase on the localization of their market communications, to have better standing in the market segment.
Alright, so that's about it for our presentation. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.